I'm Tracie Martin. Right now I'm with the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, and I am the Senior Fatality Review Program Specialist for the Child Fatality Review Committee.
I myself didn't know until I began to work there that there was a committee that actually searches the deaths of children to see if they were preventable.
In this area, primarily gather information about children in the District of Columbia who have died.
She's always trying to gather information and synthesize information about why tragedies have occurred, why children's deaths have occurred.
It's very difficult work in that you have to identify first all the agencies that the child and the family was involved with, and then you have to gather all the records, review all the records, and develop a case story in a way so that it's interesting to the committee members, that kind of describes every aspect of the services that the family received.
It really became a passion of mine to work on behalf of these families, most of whom were very vulnerable, disconnected from what I consider to be the real world. I mean, it's almost as if there's this subculture of children and families.
She linked the issues associated with the school system. She linked the number of kids that were known to the juvenile justice system, linking the kids that were known to child welfare, how many were known to both systems. So she was able to zero in on that single population of kids.
And I just noticed that in doing the case reviews for the youth homicide cases, there was a large number of youth homicides occurring in the Washington Highlands neighborhood in Southeast DC. I just wanted to see what was really going on with this core group of kids. And through research I found that a lot of the youth had been known to child welfare. Again, a lot of the youth had been known to juvenile justice. But when you go even further back, you find that a lot of the youth had lost a significant person in their life at a very young age.
If you ever looked at a person's life in retrospect and how services impact that, it's overwhelming.
She was able to show the city, the committee, and ignite an interest in the committee to the point where it sparked more interest in even reviewing those deaths.
The city is now seeing that these deaths are preventable. It's more than just, and it's something that can be dealt with before the kids become involved in gangs, or before they become involved even with child welfare services. It's something that can begin in the homes.
Her push was to help the agency see where they could have done something different that would have changed the life of that child.
There are now community providers that will come on the scene and actually work with the children and the families at the scene of a fatal event to try to make sure that the kids are able to work out their grief. We see now where DC Public Schools has a crisis intervention program in place, so that if a child's life is lost and the child is attending a DC public school, you have social workers and psychologists on hand that can work with the kids immediately.
Sadly, there have been cutbacks in her department, and there are fewer people who are investigating child deaths and trying to figure out how to prevent them. And Tracie's just taken on more and more over the last year or two.
And so now Tracie is pretty much doing the child review deaths alone.
I think most people would find it overwhelming, but she always does it with good spirits and never shows any discouragement at all. And she's really an example for all of us.
She understands that this is such a critical process, and this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity that the city should not want to lose.
She is driven. She works hard. She is a very hard worker. She's passionate about what she does, and she's there long hours after I'm gone.
I've never heard her complain about how difficult things are. She always keeps her eye focused on the ball, and the ball is making the lives of children in Washington better.
it's almost like a calling. And don't get me wrong, some days I get so frustrated. You know, there are days when I'm sitting at my desk and I'm crying after reading records of these fatalities, but at the end of the day, I know that, you know, someone has to make a difference, someone has to say something, and someone has to be that voice.